Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
Welcome to the Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Today, our guest is Sivan. Steven, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Qasim. How are you, man?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for asking. So, Steven, let us know where you live and what you do.
Yeah, I'm the CEO and founder of Quasar Markets. Look, I've been the CEO of Quasar for about a year and a half. But before that, I worked for the State Department, the White House. I've been in PGA, NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball. I've been in TV. I have been, in all kinds of cool things. But I've always been a trader my whole life for about 34 years now this year. And, I worked for a senior VP and chief strategy officer at both Benzinga and Money.net. And about a year and a half ago, I decided that I wanted to start my own company called Quasar Markets. And the idea here is that I wanted to be the Amazon of the fintech world. The problem with fintech is that it is very fragmented, meaning that a lot of companies have, this as a software development company, you have a lot of modules and a lot of small companies, right? They're trying to make their own thing. What if I could take all of that, build a big ecosystem and support that ecosystem with users and education and AI and build one big platform as opposed to smaller platforms? And we did that.
Awesome. So, what are your core responsibilities as a CEO? I'm sure you must be wearing a lot of hats as a founder, but yeah, what are your core responsibilities?
Yeah, of course. Obviously, in any startup, you got to raise money, right? And the second thing we always have to do is get the thing off the ground, and we got to start it and get the developers going and build it actually, and put your ideas into what we call a mind map, and then from that mind map, build out that mind map and be able to be structured in a way that allows the developers to also have a little bit of their own creativity within the system, as well as best practices, and then create what came out of my mind. And to do that, I needed a couple of things. I needed money, so we raised the money, and then we needed developers, and I partnered with a company called Kiwi Tech and WebMob out of DC. And a year and a half ago, and about a year ago, we started the process, and a year later, we have a whole system going on now.
Awesome. So when you start partnering with other companies, so what's the thinking process behind the scene where you define, okay, this company will be suitable for us for XYZ work? So what's the thought process?
Yeah, when people partner with us, it's been a fairly easy place with that one, right? I think a lot of things when you're a CEO or a founder, it starts with the CEO and the founder, right? What kind of reputation does that person have? And I've got a very good reputation on Wall Street, and people know me as BigBeat, and that has paved the way for a lot of easiness, right? I've had zero companies say no to me. Everyone's excited. In fact, the thing that's the hardest thing is time, right? We all know that as developers, it takes time to build no matter what you're building. And people want it yesterday, and that's just not the way that things work, right? And you have to create the idea. Even when you have partnerships, how is that partnership going to look? How do you put that into paper? How do you put that into a module? How do you implement that into the system? And those things need to be smooth, and sometimes that isn't smooth, but when you have great partners, I think that's part of the help, right? Now the next level of that obviously is data needs, right? What is the customer data needs that they need, and making sure that you have the right customer, the right needs, the right idea, and the timeline that makes that work too as well. So there's a lot that goes on behind that scenes, but having 33 years of experience, I think that makes the system a little bit easier for me.
Awesome, awesome. So when we talk about the idea, validation of idea is an important thing, I believe. So what do you think, like how you validate your idea and how others should validate it? Because I believe this is an essential part of any business.
Yeah, so many people quantify a win, and for me, not being a failure, right? When I always say, I don't want to fail, I don't want to fail. Look, as a CEO and a founder, you don't quantify that win by how much money you have in the bank. You don't quantify that win by how many users you have on the platform. You don't quantify that by, okay, did I make the best product? The question is when you put the product out there in the public, you may have the best product, but it may not work. Right? You may have the worst product and it may work, right? The question is, how does the feedback response interaction happen, right? So as I build, I want feedback, right? I want good and bad feedback. I respond better to bad feedback. Great. I know what to fix. If I hear always good feedback, then okay, I don't really understand what I need to fix or what do I need to do, right? 'Cause people say, oh, this looks great. Looks great. This is amazing. Well, great, but what is about it that's amazing? I want to know detailed feedback. And I think that's how you know you've actually done something well, is when people are starting to invest their own time into your product. And then they're telling you, and then the money will come, then the applications will come, then the investors will come. You just need to make sure that you're building something that's got a what I call the next level. You must have a vision. If you do not, as a CEO and founder, have a vision for where you see the whole product going, then you shouldn't be a CEO and a founder, right? You should be an employee. If you don't have a vision that changes over time, then you shouldn't be a CEO and founder, right? My vision for the company has gotten bigger. Right? That's key, right? It should always be bigger than your vision to begin with, right? My vision's always big. I want to be the Amazon of finance. And now that I'm here and building that out, I want to go bigger. I want to go worldwide. I want to do things even bigger, right? And that vision should expand with you. I mean, to put that in perspective, and I think, oh, that's a harsh thing to say, Steve. No, really. Jeff Bezos' greatest idea was putting books on the internet. He passed up his own vision within a few years, right? And still was losing money. So he did not quantify his win of Amazon by what his vision was, right? So I think he was asked on Jay Leno, you're losing $100 million a month. Today, $100 million is not even a minute on the Amazon platform, right? And his vision got really big when he expanded his own vision. And I think that's the key, is can you expand your own vision? Can you get outside of your own ego and grow that ego and grow that business and grow that next exponential idea in the next level of what your idea was? And that idea is going to be grown. That idea is going to be sculpted by your users. And that's how I think you should define your wins and whether or not you're a success in your business.
Awesome. So while we are talking about the goals and expansion, so what are your short-term goals in terms of expansion, like in next 3 to 6 months?
Yeah, I mean, the coolest thing right now we're doing is the international expansion. I've already opened it up to about 9 more languages, working on Mandarin Chinese now. And I think that's the key, right? Is that I'm going as fast, as hard as I can. And I think one of the problems in business is red tape, right? If you have a CEO and a founder who says no to everything or yes to everything, you don't have a good founder, right? You need somebody who can keep that vision alive, who understands the next level of this while you're in. I always say this when you have employees. If the CEO and the founder can walk away and the employees can continue that vision and do it, and the machine still runs the way that you would want it to be run, that's how you know you've been a good boss, a good person at the helm. Because I always say the same thing, right? A good captain is not made in calm seas, right? So as things progress, I expect there to be problems. I thrive on problems because I like to solve problems. And you need to be a problem person, right? You need to be somebody who doesn't get excited, does not, is calm and can handle those problems and get through it and move on, right? And to be able to pass that knowledge on down to other people around you and be a mentor. Being the CEO and a founder isn't what it's all cracked up to be. I promise you that. I'll tell you that being a CEO and a founder should be more of a mentorship, right? I want more people to be not just like me, but a better person of themselves, right? Whoever they are, as I say in my own company, I don't want to give you a role. I want you to tell me what your role is. I already know you're an adult. You're an adult. You're a person that can do your thing. All right. You're hired. Now go do what you do. Tell me what it is that you want to do. How do you see yourself fitting in the company, right? And fill that hole. And you see, because you know what? When you empower those people, they will go off and they will make you a much better product. They'll give you the richness of their own soul into making your product a better product.
Well, this is very interesting that giving too much empowerment, I believe that's something that probably must be your differentiator. So other than this, what do you think? What are your differentiators?
Yeah, I think there's a few differentiators between myself and a few others, right? I think one thing is, and I always hear this about myself, is it's very infectious. I have a lot of energy, right? And I think that's a key to any business is energy, right? If you're always coming to work and you hate what you do, don't do it, right? There's a billion other jobs out there. Look, there's 8 billion people on the planet. You will find another job, I promise. Do not continue in the same position you're in just to pay bills or just to live, right? That's great. And yeah, you can say, say, well, see, that's a luxury. No, it's not really, right? Because you're going to be a happier person when you find the place you want to be. And you can still work, but make sure that you're happy. I think the second thing in life, especially in business, is interaction with other people, right? How do you fit in the eco culture, I always say, of that place that you work in? Are you reserved? Are you energetic? Are you part of the solving the issue that's at a hand, or are you part of the problem, right? If you're part of the problem, okay, just step outside of the problem, let the other people that want to handle the problem and go find problems you want to deal with, right? That's great, right? Because that person will actually be a much better employee, right? We have people that, hey, I want to be on TV. Great, I'll help you because why? Because I know how to do that, right? I know the people, I know how to act and all those things, and I'll build that around them, right? I think the third thing that you need to have when you're looking at the corporate culture in a lot of ways is giving more freedom than they expected to have, right? It's not just about giving them the space in order to be creative or to do the thing they want, but it's also the freedom to go and explore other things. Meaning that, I've got this idea, Steve. What do you think about? Yes, yes, do it. There's a reason why you came up with that idea. It may not work, okay, right? But we'll stop that before it doesn't work. But I'm not going to stop that inside of whatever that person is to make this a better situation, right? Hey, I've got a better idea. Steve, I know what you're thinking. I understand. And sometimes I'm not the best at implementation of what I'm looking to do, right? I know where I want to go sometimes, but the vehicle to get there, I'm not always sure exactly how to do that. Great. Guess what? I have people to do that. And I want to give them the empowerment. I want to give them the freedom. And I want to give them the ability to actually do it without any red tape around them. And that is how, I always hear this about my own company. That's, BigBeat. Look, the thing that you have the best is the sheer number of people around you and the quality of people that you have around you and the excitement of people that you have around you. They all want to help you build this, right? Nobody wants to tear it down. They all want to build as fast as they can with you. And I think that's the corporate culture that I've always wanted to create.
That's interesting. I think we can talk about this topic for more than an hour, but I still have some questions on it.
Sure.
So I believe in this world, there are a lot of change resistant. So I believe you are making changes on the go and very rapidly, and you are working in a lot of competencies. First of all, never ever anybody encouraged me to work in multiple competencies. Everybody says, okay, just choose one competency and be master of it. And after this, as you said, like you are changing the vision as well, time to time, and you are adapting the new things, like you are making changes a lot. So I know in this world, there are a lot of people who are change resistant. So how you just like, this can be a change resistant, I should not work with this person. And if someone is change resistant in your own organization, how you tackle it? I believe this is one of the hardest thing to tackle.
It's not. Goodbye. See you later. Sayonara. Au revoir. Arrivederci. I don't care. I don't want them around, right? Look, the future is coming faster than it ever has before, right? I have lived through the beginning of the internet, beginning of smartphones. I've seen it all. I've seen all the technology. And look, I remember sitting one time at a Thanksgiving dinner table and my parents say, no way will cars ever drive themselves. We can't even think about that right now. This is normal to us now, right? The future is very bright, but we need to make sure that we embrace it and not say, oh, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm just not part of who I am. No, that's not right? Because if you do that, the change, the future is coming. Do you want to be a part of the change, or do you want to sit back and complain about the change? Because the change coming, right? A good example of that would be AI, right? We all know AI is coming. I've been talking about AI for 15 years. It's amazing. People saying, oh my God, AI. Look, AI's been around for 50 years. I mean, I've been talking about it for 15. What artificial intelligence is changing faster, and it's changing how? And OpenAI looks nothing like OpenAI did when it first started, right? But we have to embrace that. And guess what? Even Sam Altman's saying, you know what? He's even changed how he does it, right? It went from, well, maybe I'm just going to go into nonprofit, and maybe I'll go to profit, or maybe I'll sell the company. He's changing too, because he has to, right? Crypto, my goodness, think about the number of people who said no to crypto, said no way, Bitcoin. I remember buying Bitcoin at $75, right? Today, it's $90,000, right? Why? Because with some people embraced it and some people didn't. And when you don't, you're going to go chase that. Now you're not part of the fabric of crypto anymore. You're just being on the outside. And I don't ever want to do that. And I think as a company, regardless of who the company is, you should be a part of that. A good example of that is Apple. They've all new phones, new iPads, new iMacs, all that fun stuff, right? But they realized during artificial intelligence, they changed it to Apple Intelligence, but they didn't get it right. So guess what they're doing? They're partnering with Google and saying, you know what, I'm going to change and I'm going to partner with Gemini. All of a sudden, they have expanded their whole repertoire. 20 years ago, Apple and Google did not get along. They didn't even want their own search engine on their system, right? Today, we can't even imagine that, right? And that kind of change is exactly what happens when you look at the perspective of the future. Are you going to change with it? Or are you going to say, okay, I don't know about all of this change. I'm not going to sit in a car that's going to not have a driver. Well, you are, whether you like it or not. You know, you may not like it, but 20 years from now, oh, it might be Waymo. And it might be all these companies that are building out, and it might not even look the way that we think it is. It might be flying by the time in 20 years from now. So I say, look, I understand change is hard. I get it, right? And I understand that not everybody has vision. You know, there's always that old guy sitting in their lazy chair and with their remote control arguing at the TV. There's always going to be those people. But don't be those people, right? Be the change you want to be. And this is what I always say. I think Nike had the best line of all times. If you want to do something, just do it, right? No one else is going to do it for you. No one else is going to say to you, hey, I got this idea. How do I? And that's what we want to do at Quasar Markets, right? If you have an idea, I can make that happen for you, right? I mean, Zing does too, right? You have the ability to help companies make their thought process into reality. And that is what is a change that needs to happen in the world. And a lot of times I hear, oh, well, I had that idea 15 years ago. That's great. Good for you. But did you do anything about it? No. You didn't go raise money? No. Well, I didn't know how to. Well, you didn't know how to do it. So shut the hell up unless you're going to do it, right? Or partner with companies like Zing or WebMob and Kiwi Tech. Get your idea done. Because you know what? It may not be. Mark Zuckerberg, he didn't even come up with the idea of Facebook, right? I mean, this is a guy that started the company and now he had no idea that he was going to be doing videos on, I mean, it was swipe left or swipe right before swipe left and swipe right was started, right? Elon Musk did not start out owning Tesla. He did not start out with PayPal. Right. So we're in SpaceX. I mean, you know, Burt Rutan helped build SpaceX. God bless the rest of his soul. But this is what I'm saying. You don't know where your idea is going to go, but you have to start it somewhere. And if you don't start your idea, then shut the hell up.
Awesome. I think that's a concrete answer for sure. Awesome. So, all right. So, for any business, I believe marketing is one of the essential part. So, how you are handling the marketing side, because I believe you are not selling sort of any product, like physical good. So, how you are managing it, because it is pretty easy to sell FMCG like physical products on the social media in the digital world, where you just start an ad, a Google ad, Meta ad, any sort of like ad, so they start getting sales. But in your business, this is pretty.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think one of the things that is social media has really changed the dynamics of how we interact with each other, right? And especially how we understand the world and how we buy. If you think about it, the reason that Amazon does so well is because it's so easy to buy, right? And I think that when we sell to the customer, I don't believe it's selling to the customer. I'm going to tell them how I can make their life better. I want to do it in a way that's not expensive, that if you spend this amount of money, you will exponentially grow your education, knowledge of the world. You'll get better data, better quality products in front of you. You'll see the world a little bit different. You'll be able to interact with a higher level. And I think that selling them is not the key. Right? The key is telling a story. The key is saying, look, I know where you are in the world. I know what you want. Here's how to do it. I don't want to charge you a lot of money. I want to make you a better person, but I want you to become the better person and not me just shoveling it down your throat, right? I want you to find out what it is that you do well, and I want to make that exponentially better. I want to 10x you. I want to 100x that person. And that is what I think that Quasar Markets does very well. What do you mean by that, Big Beat? Well, it's very simple. If you think about it from the perspective of the world, it's not a very big place, right? It's very round, I promise you. And as that world, if you want to know what's going on in Japan, you sometimes got to Google the news, and you may or may not get the news you like. But what if I could put all of that in AI and bring it down to a level that they understand, or up to a level that maybe it's quantum physics and they understand quantum physics? Great. When I talk to AI, I want the AI to come on my level and not the other way around. I don't want to tell me something like I'm a 5-year-old. I don't want to tell me like I'm a doctor in quantum physics. I want them to tell me something at my level, right? And so I think that that's the key. But I also want the machine to be able to understand where I am, and as I grow and learn, will it be better for me? And that's what I think Quasar Markets does for people. It knows where you are in your level, and it will raise your level of understanding and maybe open up another world that you didn't even know existed, and that maybe the world you've always wanted to be in. And that's what I've always said. Look, that's the key, is to there may be people who have never even played tennis, but guess what? Or cricket. How about this? Cricket. I mean, it's a good example. I'm following cricket. I've never done that before, right? And now I'm watching cricket and I'm learning the game, and I love baseball. I love football, but I've never watched cricket. So now all of a sudden I'm watching more sports and getting more excited about things that I didn't even know about, and raising my knowledge. But guess what? I wasn't raised with cricket, so I didn't really understand it. So guess what? I'm learning while I'm watching my baseball, while I'm watching football at the same time. And now I've expanded my world, became a better person, and now I can relate to a whole other level of people that I never knew to do that with, right? So I think that's the key, is making the person that's already there a better person, and to be able to make them a little more excited, and of course I know I have a lot of energy, but that's the excitement of the world, and that will also lower the temperature of your need for change and excitement about change. If you don't like change, well, guess what? If you learn a little bit more about AI, it won't be so scary. If you learn a little bit more about how the car works and how you don't need a driver anymore, you may not be as scared. And maybe you're learning, oh, you know what? That's not a bad thing. My father told me he would never have the internet in his house, never have a computer in his house. Today, if the internet goes down, he can't stand it, right? Because he had to learn a little bit. He didn't even know how to turn the machine on. Today, it's like, we all know how that works, right? We become our own tech team for our parents, right? But that's exactly right. Now a whole other world opened up for him, and now he's smarter about the world. Now he understands a little bit more. So yeah, I think that's part of it.
Awesome. So I think the market of AI is already developed. So we don't need to develop work on the market development of AI. So how you are acquiring the clients, how you are acquiring your customers? Because I believe in your case, you are spreading a lot of knowledge as well. But I'm not sure if still people are aware of all these things. Maybe the clients you are acquiring, I'm not sure if they are well aware of all these things. So how you onboard them?
Yeah, and see, people ask me about, what are your clientele? What are your demographics? I said, I don't believe in B2B or B2C. It's B to X. I want to bring the world to everybody, right?
Sorry, but this is, I think, the best thing that you said. This is B to X. This is awesome. I learned it. Thank you. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
because if you think about it, right, I don't want to pigeonhole a company, right? Amazon is not selling to one type of person. As in business, it's all about this. It's not about selling one thing to one person. It's about selling many things to many people. That's what business is all about. Just ask Amazon, just ask Facebook, just ask the billionaires. They're not selling one product to one person. They're selling many products to many people, right? And the expansion is how it happens, right? And what I want to do, and when I talk about the marketing to them, is that, yeah, you have to separate the marketing out. So you have to have videos that says, okay, I know the demographic I'm going after. All right, in this demographic, I'm going to talk about the one thing that will make their life better. But in an institution, all right, this is what I have to say to them to make them understand that, hey, this product also includes this. And then for other demographics, hey, guess what? We also have sports and we have weather. You might not see other, and you can make the platform the way you want, right? I want to create something that it doesn't matter how you see it, whether it's Oculus or Apple Vision Pro or your watch or your eyeglasses or whatever, or your laptop or your iPad, or what language it's in, or how you see it, or what you want to see. I want to give the user complete autonomy over their own system. And that's what we have never seen before yet, right? We always see is a website and this is what it looks like, and this is how you're going to look at the page, and this is the newspaper look, and this is the look of what Google says you have to look at. I don't want that. I want that. Wipe that all away. If you like to trade this way, you like Fidelity and you like Tasty Trade for options, put it all in there and let the user decide. That's what people want. They want to be able to decide color and how it looks and what news they get and what sports and weather. Everybody's different. So
Yeah.
meet them on their level and not try to make them come to your level. And because when they come, then they'll be able to go up, up, and up, right? They'll be able to learn more about the weather in Canada, and maybe they'll understand why things are happening the way they are, right? And then to AI, the whole thing.
Awesome. That's great. I will add this thing on my website as well. B2X. Awesome. All right. So, Steven, it was really great conversation. I really enjoyed a lot. I really don't want to end this podcast at this stage, but yeah, we have a time limitation. So, what would be your biggest piece of advice at the end?
Yeah, I think my biggest piece of advice is always the same that I've always said. There are three things that make me me, and I think the first thing is know thyself, right? If you don't know who you are as a person and what you want to do in life, that's okay. But over time, you better learn who you are as a person, because that will make your life a whole lot easier, and it'll make your life a lot easier to partner up to if you're looking at that side. A second thing I always say is when you are going through life, you are going to make mistakes. Okay. And those mistakes can be big or they can be small. But once you've made the mistake, learn from the mistake and move on. Understand what the mistake was, learn from it and move on. And don't really look back on it, right? You made a mistake. Okay. You can't change the mistake. You can change what the future is. And the third thing I always say, and this is the most important thing I always tell people, is loyalty. I am a very loyal person. It makes me very hard to make friends the way that I want to make friends. I love everybody, but to be in my inner circle, it's about loyalty, right? And being loyal to not, but to who you are, what you think you want to do, and loyal to your company, if you're CEO, and also loyal to the idea that you've manifested. Do not stray from that. That is, you can make changes, and I expected it. We talked about that. But be loyal to what it is that you want to fix, the problem, the issue, the next level that you want to create. Be loyal.
Awesome. That's a great advice for sure. All right, Sivan, at the end, would you please let our viewers know how they can reach you if you want to share your website or wherever people can reach
Our
you?
website is quasarmarkets.com. You can obviously Google the search engine that. You can always find me on Twitter at BigBeat. And of course, our own for Quasar Markets on Twitter and X is Quasar Markets. So yeah.
All right. Thank you, Steven. Thanks for joining us today. I really enjoyed the conversation
Me
and
too.
hope we will stay in touch. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you,
Bye
Qasim.
bye.
Bye-bye.